Right. We're done with section one, which is future value and compounding. Let's move forward with chapter five, section two, present value and discounting. So if you think about present value and discounting, this is the reverse process of future value and compounding. Okay. So basically, you're going to solve the questions with known future value, and then we want to know the present value. Okay, so let's look at the example 5.6, saving up. Right, suppose you want to buy a new car, and how much do you want to invest today in order to buy the car in the future? Right. So the future value, so in this case, the car price will be $68,500, and number of period will be 2. So we're going to buy this car in 2 years. And we're thinking about the interest rate is 9%, right? How much money do we need to invest today in order to afford this car, right? So we call this question the present value. Right? So again, this is start from the equal sign, and we can insert the function. The function is called PV or present value. Double click this one. We're going to insert all those information one by one. The rate in this case is 9, right? The number of time period will be 2. Right? Payment, again, in our case, we're only talking about the beginning of the investment, the end of the investment. There's nothing, no more payment, no more cash in between. So we just either say the payment is 0 or we can ignore the payment. The future value in this case is $68,500. Again, we want to put a negative sign here in order to get a positive value, positive future value. Type, again, we say we're going to ignore this. If we click OK, so we got the saving needed today is $57,655.08. So that's how we calculate. Or we can just simply using the PV function by ourselves without insert the function, 9%, number of time periods, ignore the payment by putting another comma, and the negative present value, and close the parentheses, and we got the same amount number here, right? All right, let's look at another example. So this is fairly simple, right? All right, so let's say we want to create the same table that we did for the future value, which we call the two-way data table, or the two-way data table here, right? But what we want to do is we want to start from a simple one. So if we know our future value is $1, the number of time periods is 2, interest rate is 9%, we can say the present value, or PV, it doesn't really matter, the rate is 9%, number of time period will be 2, and the comma to indicate there's nothing for payment, and -1, so that we know the present value will be 84 cents, 84 cents. So what I want to show you here is we can, instead of making the calculation one by one as we did for the future value, I want to show you another function in Excel, which we call the data table, right? So the data table. So basically the data table, this one will serve as a benchmark. So basically in the data table, we'll just equal this one as benchmark for us, right? As a benchmark value for us. Right? So we say if we want to make calculation for a different interest rate and different time period, I mean, we can certainly use the function that we used before, but we can also use the data table. And how to do the data table? What we're going to do is to select this area, right, the whole area from the benchmark to all the way down 20% and 9 years. Okay. And after we select this area, go to what if analysis, and there's something called data table, right? Data table. We're going to click the data table, right? Basically, we tell Excel right? So this is our benchmark. For this benchmark, the number of time periods will be 2 years. The interest rate is 9%. And we're going to change the interest rate from this 9% to 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. And we're going to change the number of periods from 2 to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, etc., etc. Right? So what we want to do is first we'll look at the row input cell, okay, which is this one, right? Which is about the interest rate. Okay, we can click this one. So we say what we're changing on this row is about interest rate. Right? For the column, which is we're going to change the number of time period, right? We're going to click these 2 years from our base case. So basically, in this case, we're telling Excel to change the interest rate, right, from the base case, 9%, to 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, and change the number of time periods from the base case, which is 2, to 0, all the way down to 9. And that's it. Once we're done with this, click OK. If we do this, and then all the numbers will pop up. Right? So this data table is extremely useful when you have a much larger table and you have a base case, right? Always can make our life much easier. And the graph here shows the present value for $1 with different years of discounting and different present value. So basically, the longer the time period, the lower the present value. Or the higher the interest rate, the lower the present value. Because we're compounding.